very stoic, stone-faced. We will find out in just a couple of moments as we go live to Orlando, Florida, to find out what the verdict is and all the time of waiting. The evidence now presented, and one of the biggest things that we kept hearing about this is a circumstantial evidence case. There is no actual physical knowledge of Casey Anthony committing this crime, but by going through her character and her past inconsistencies in story, the way that she conducted herself while her daughter was missing, not informing anyone, what the prosecution hopes to do is to prove that, hey, by character, this woman is more than capable, not only capable, she is guilty of this crime.
Well, and let's not forget the air samples. This was the first time when an air sample was used in court. They have the hair samples. They studied the skull. If you watch the trial closely, they talked about the 3 pieces of tape that held her jaw together. They had forensic psychologists. They had forensic scientists. They had Dr. G, the medical examiner, who's got that show on the Discovery Network. She testified in this trial. Casey Anthony's parents, Cindy Anthony, got up there. She testified that she was the one who Googled chloroform, but then they came back and said that's not possible. Cindy Anthony was at work between 1:45 and 2:15. There's no way she could have Googled chloroform. Casey Anthony Googled it 83 times. So all of this testimony, all of this evidence, whether it be circumstantial, it's all coming down to this 2:15 verdict in less than 2 minutes.
Casey Anthony is losing her composure visibly in the courtroom at this moment because in less than 4 minutes, we will find out. We've heard everything that we can possibly hear, and this is one of those very polarizing cases where you go through and you talk to people, and boy, I gotta tell you, it has been hard, few and far between for me to find anyone who sides with this.
Yeah.
That's what hurts for me, to sit here and look at this and go, you know what? It has got to be one of the hardest things for a juror to do, to try and listen to this when they have all this evidence and try and keep that open mind and go, okay, let me hear both sides. But the evidence is there. All we need now is a verdict. We don't know what that verdict is yet. We will find out in a couple of moments from Orange County, Florida, in Orlando. Casey Anthony, her attorneys, the prosecution, and all jurors are now sitting in the courtroom.
Yes, all 12 jurors are now waiting. Again, and if this is new to you, maybe you're going, Chuck and Woo, I have no idea who Casey Anthony is. Casey Anthony's daughter, Kaylee, went missing back in 2008. Casey Anthony did not call the police for 31 days. She claimed that the babysitter had kidnapped her. Her web of lies unfolded. The police find out that there is no babysitter, and now Casey Anthony's defense is that her daughter, Kaylee, drowned.
We're going to take actually, at this time, I believe we are going to go to Orlando.
She's standing up. She's standing up in the courtroom.
Ready to enter the courtroom. So here we go. On the Casey Anthony verdict.
Like that the defendant is present along with counsel for the defendant. Both sides ready to proceed. It's been brought to my attention that the jury has reached the verdict. State?
The state's ready to proceed, Your Honor.
Defense?
Defense is ready.
To those in the gallery, please do not express any signs of approval or disapproval upon the reading of the verdict. Let's return to jury.
This time from the Orlando courthouse in the verdict in the Casey Anthony trial. We're still waiting for the official reading of the verdict by the jury. You're listening to 94.9 The Point and continuing coverage of the Casey Anthony trial. Quiet courtroom right now.
My heart is jumping out of my chest right now.
Okay.
State recognized presence in the jury.
We do, Your Honor.
And does the defense?
Yes, sir, we do.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Have you reached the verdict?
Yes, sir.
Would you hand the verdict form to the court deputy, please?
So here at the point, verdict again at the Casey Anthony trial as we await.
Judge
Judge Belvin Perry will be reading. That's the voice that you hear, the deep breathing. That's from Judge Belvin Perry, who's been appointed over this trial for the last 6 weeks.
He's examining the final documentation. We'll know in a couple of moments here. And if we sound like we're rambling, it's because we are. We don't want the radio station to go off the air.
Yeah.
We have silence detectors here, which shut us off if silence is detected on the station for any amount of time.
Let me just tell you, we're looking at the TV right now. Casey Anthony sitting in the courtroom, literally on the verge of tears. She's wearing a pink ruffled blouse, her hair pulled back, and she looks like she is
Will the defendant rise along with counsel? Madam Clerk, you may publish the verdicts.
Judge. In the Circuit Court for the 9th Judicial Circuit in and for Orange County, Florida, State of Florida versus Casey Marie Anthony. As to case number 2008 CF 15606-0. As to the charge of first-degree murder, verdict as to count 1. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, on this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of aggravated child abuse, verdict as to count 2. We, the jury, find defendant not guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of aggravated manslaughter of a child, verdict as to count 3. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty, so say we all, dated at Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of providing false information to a law enforcement officer, verdict as to count 4. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of providing false information to a law enforcement officer as charged in the indictment. So say we all, dated Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of providing false information to a law enforcement officer, verdict as to count 5. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of providing false information to a law enforcement officer as charged in the indictment. So say we all, dated Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of providing false information to a law enforcement officer, verdict as to count 6. We, the jury, find the defendant not guilty. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of providing false information to a law enforcement officer as charged in the indictment. So say we all, dated Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson. As to the charge of providing false information to a law enforcement officer, verdict is to count 7. We, the jury, find the defendant guilty of providing false information to a law enforcement officer as charged in the indictment. So say we all, dated Orlando, Orange County, Florida, this 5th day of July, 2011, signed foreperson.
Madam Clerk, you may poll the jury.
Juror number 1, were these your true and correct verdicts? Pardon? Juror number 1, were these your true and correct verdicts? Not guilty. Were they all your true and correct verdicts? Yes. Juror number 2, were these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 3, were these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 4, were these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 5, were these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 6, were these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 7, were these your true and correct verdicts? Yes. Juror number 8, were these your true and correct verdicts? Yes. Juror number 9, were these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 10, were these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 11, were these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
And juror number 12, were these your true and correct verdicts? Yes. Thank you.
And there you have it. From Orlando, Florida, a shocking outcome in the verdict of the Casey Anthony trial.
And the 7 counts that Casey Anthony was charged with, she was only found guilty of the 4 counts of lying to a law enforcement officer. Was the jury in the courtroom that I was watching, like, am I the only one that is dumbfounded here?
Not guilty of murder, not guilty of child neglect.
Let's go back to the courtroom. Casey Anthony held the state of California.
Indictment, murder in the first degree. At this time, I will adjudge you to be not guilty. As to count 2, crime of aggravated child abuse.